Hello, beautiful. This is OKeba and Hatara. Um, I just want to do a video, kind of an update, and just kind of let you guys know what's going on with me. Thank you for those of you who have sent out words of love and encouragement. I do appreciate that. I read the comments. I do get to them, and I don't always comment right away, but I'm there. I'm watching and such. Um, so thank you for that. On my last video, I mentioned that I had come out of my fast and that I have actually been in pain. I've been in pain for quite some time now. Actually, I don't talk about it. I For the longest time, I don't always talk about my pain when I'm dealing with it, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain. I tend to hold it in, and um, and I don't really start sharing it or talking about it until it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, it's too much now. And um, well, I just want to kind of talk about that. So this might go whatever kind of way. Y'all know me, I don't edit videos, so we'll see what comes out of my mouth. um, no, but really, Nancy and I were talking about this and how, oftentimes we look at the age of 40, around 40 or so, you start finding that people who whether it's you or friends or family members, once they start reaching around 40, then all of a sudden these different problems start happening. They start having problems with their health usually, and some people have problems, mental problems and things. It typically always happens around 40. And what we are speculating, understanding, overstanding, and understanding is that it is because you've outgrown the level of youth. And all of those things, those different things that you may have programmed in your mind, those experiences that you had, those emotional experiences, those physical experiences that you had, which were all keeping memory in your body. Your cells keep memory, your body keeps memory, your bones keep memory, right? That's why people carry their ancestors' bones as memory in there along with DNA. But and because that aligns also with blood, so all of that carries memory. And this memory starts to show up. It starts to show up in your body at that age, around 40 or so. And really, because you're no longer young, your body doesn't have the rejuvenating capacity, usually for most people, that it had in its younger years. In our modern society, we're dealing with things like the air quality, the water quality, the food quality, and all of that. And if you've eaten decently, if you've tried to keep up and do well for your body, even in the midst of all the things that we all kind of have to deal with, then you might pace it a little bit longer. As well as if you didn't have all of these negative programs in your mind in your young years, meaning if you had beautiful beginnings as a child, you were reared in a family with loving parents, right? A mother and father who loved you, who nourished you, who told you you are good enough, everything. I mean, you can have whatever you want. They fed joy, they fed positivity, they fed power into you at a young age. They made you feel like you were absolutely wanted here and you have a purpose in this life, and other people didn't talk back to you and program you in those early years before you turn the age of 7, which is really around the time when you actually start to able to think and you're starting to rationalize. Prior to that, in those early years of your life, you're just absorbing, you're taking it all in, right? And so those things that maybe teachers may have said, parents, family members, brothers or sisters that said to you in your earliest years are playing out in your body. It plays out in your body, as well as things that may have happened to you. Things like getting beat up, being abused, the fear, having to fear for your life, hunger, if you've had childhood diseases and illnesses, if you've seen loved ones die and get killed, if you've been raped, if you've been molested, these things are kept in your body. The body keeps the score. That's another really good book. I have to refer to that book. That's a very powerful book, and it talks deeper about that. But I'm talking about it more so on how it gets programmed as a child level, and your body truly does hold on to that memory. And I do believe, and as my husband and I were talking, that this is what happens when you start to have ailments and illnesses. And quite frankly, you never know what other people are going through, right? We're on YouTube, so you don't know what's happening with people behind the scenes, unless they tell you, unless they show you, unless you know them for real. So I'm telling you guys, I've had this issue with my back, and there are psychosomatic things that you can read into and find out what it's linked to. You may have like the left side of the body linked more to father, right side mother. You have it's various things. Whether you want to go that far with it or not is on you, but science is starting to explain some of these things. They're starting to give credence to some of these ideas, psychosomatic, that it's not just simply some hooky fooky, hokey pokey. It has meaning, it has real meaning, and that's why some ancient sciences were based on this idea. But anyway, I digress. So that's what I do believe is happening with me. And I think, well, let me say this. I was going through a depression. That's what I started off saying to you guys, because part of me got angry. Part of me got very upset. And I said, man, I eat well. I take care of myself. I'm doing good things. I'm thinking positive thoughts. I'm on this pathway to grow and to elevate, etc., etc. I'm doing everything good for myself that I could be. Although there is an area of my life that that's a struggle, and that's a pain, and all of that. And I'll get into more of that. Some of that dealing with career and all of that, those different things. There's an aspect of that has also dealt with some pain in my life. But I was upset because all these other things I'm doing, like, why am I having this issue in my body? And that's what hit me, is that it has to do with all of that pre-programming that was placed in my thoughts and in my body from the time that I was young. Now, I've had some physical experiences that happened to me. I'm not going to use this as a broadcast to go down that path, but I've had some physical traumatic experiences that have become memory in my body, But mentally, I'll tell you guys about that. Mentally, I actually spent a lot of time programming my mind towards sadness, towards sadness and depression. Now, I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but I remember for many years as a young girl, I would just listen to sad songs, and I would continuously put myself into this sadness state, this state where I was crying, or the state that I was thinking of sadness. I hadn't even at that point had relationships. I didn't have those experiences. I did have my dad wasn't really a big part of my life, and there were other things that happened in my household, but consciously those were not really the thoughts that made me sad. It was just the vibration of the music, and I would listen to that. I would gravitate towards songs that sounded like that. I loved Luther, but only when he was singing the sad songs, and that was the music that I would continue to gravitate towards. And I did that for so many years, y'all, like just really, and like I said, not that I knew that I was doing this and programming myself, but I did it because it was familiar, and it felt like a type of comfort to me. I didn't know of joy. I didn't know of pure happiness. I did know of a lot of laughter. We had a lot of laughter in our home at certain times. My brother David has always made all of us laugh, and he was always that person, but that wasn't continuous, and that wasn't what I vibed in all the time. Most of the time I was vibing, I was just okay. I was a kid, a kid going outside to play and whatever. But when I had time to myself, oftentimes I spent that time in sadness. And so I did that for many years. It's hot out here. I even did that to the extent of, y'all, when maybe I won't go this far in it, but I really did not want to be here. I did not want to live long, not at all. I felt that the world was a cruel space, a cruel place, and I didn't even know about all of the world. I'm just really talking about some of the things that I saw around. We lived in different places, and I was in more mixed environments, but I was also in a lot of just black environments. And you know, I saw a lot of, with the girls, I didn't think a lot of the girls were nice. I thought they were really mean girls, and a lot of them I didn't want to be with like that. I mean, I had my girls, and I met girls who I spent time with and cool with. My best friend in high school ended up being a Nigerian. We were like really cool with each other from throughout our high school years. But I just, I wasn't with that. I wasn't with the fighting and getting jealous about the boys and being mad because this guy liked that girl and stuff. And I was just so not, it was just so not me. It was just so not my energy. And it just seemed like hate. And, you know, I saw how the boys didn't really care. And you're in this environment where in my neighborhood and community wasn't even really bad, but I couldn't see too much outside of it. And so it just made me feel like, you know. And I didn't really start feeling a lot of that until I got a little bit older. But I think it was all of these other thoughts that started to play a role in how I felt. And so like I said, I spent many years programming my mind to think negative thoughts and not want to be here. But I was, oh, and let me say something about that, because I didn't really mention why that's significant. Every thought that you think, every thought that you think sends a chemical reaction in your body. It sends a chemical in your body. So if you're thinking good and positive thoughts, you're sending positive, good thoughts, or the energies that go along with that, where they say like dopamine and such. You're sending that to your body. If you having thoughts about fear and stuff, you're sending things like cortisol and stuff. I don't know all the particular chemicals, but you are sending chemicals to your body regardless of how you feel. And so when you're always feeling these sad emotions like I was doing, I was constantly feeding all of my cells this sadness energy, this sadness emotion, the sadness stuff. And so what happens is when you try to change that, if you just try to change it in your mind, it becomes very difficult. This is why it's really difficult for a person who's always been a negative person, as you would call them, to just turn around and become a positive person, because more than likely they've been feeding themselves for years negative thoughts. This is also why, on the positive flip side, a person who's really bright and sunny and peppy and all of that, it's so hard to switch them and make them become a negative person, because they've been feeding themselves for so many years with that positive, good, joyful energy, if they, you know, when they've been in that space. And so this is why it's really important, the type of energy and environment that you put around your children, because number one, they're accepting it without any barriers, any blocks. They just accept it before that age of 7 without critical thinking, and it becomes a part of their reality. It starts to paint itself in their body. Not only that, it becomes a part of their thought processes that can create blocks and barriers for them. But in addition to that, it's also having the right type of thoughts consistently, because they're feeding you. Your thoughts are feeding you. And so this is what this is what I believe has happened to me, that even though I'm eating well, and now I've been for a while now, a long time now, I have put very positive practices in place for myself, eating habits and doing all of this stuff. The stronger energy, well, I won't call it the stronger energy, but the energy that I actually have to fight, which is an energy of inertia. A thing is easier going to stay where it is. It's harder for you to change something than for you to allow it to stay where it is. And my energy had for the longer time been more negative, or lean more towards negative. I'm not saying I was this grumpy person who used to walk around scowling her face. I'm saying that the thoughts that were in my mind were usually like, well, I'm going to be disappointed. Well, I won't really have that. Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah, okay. That was kind of my thing. I mean, I could be happy in the moment and things, but my joy would never be fully joyful, because I didn't have those experiences. I had a lot of disappointments, people saying things and not following through with it. You know, again, that's that upbringing, that's that childhood, those programs that got programmed into my mind for me to think that when someone gives their word, they're not necessarily gonna follow through with it. And I had this on both parents, so it wasn't even specific to men. You know, it was kind of on both sides. So who do you trust? This was programmed deep into me that these are things I've had to deal with and continue to deal with. So that's a big part of it. So I want to go ahead and end this because this is getting long. But I realized, but it made me upset. I'm trying to get my train of thought back, but it made me upset because I was doing everything I thought was right, and still I found myself getting ill. And then I realized it was that. So now I'm on this journey because each time I can fall, I can start doing wonderful things, good things, but then I hit this wall, and something will say, well, it might just be like the last time where you did these good things, but then, you know, you just got to this point, but that was it, and you didn't go any further, and that was it. And you know, you put the information and books and stuff back on the shelf, and then you just go back to the way you were. And so there's always that lurking in my mind, and I was kind of getting to that space. But now those time periods in which I fall off the wagon, so to speak, become shorter and shorter. So I was off the wagon for a little while, not that whole duration when I did my last video, but there were a few days that I fell off a little bit, where I was just like, I'm just going to eat this, and I'm just going to do this, and I just got off of things that I knew I should have been doing. And it was because I was allowing my mind, the inertia, that old part of me, to take over and say, nah, it's easier for us to stay right here than for you to grow and push past these different programs that you set in your mind. It's hard. If there's somebody out there, maybe I'm talking to you, push past it. It's hard. It's a hard walk, y'all. Oh, I didn't know I was gonna go there. It's a hard walk, but we'll get there. I'll get there, as long as I keep pushing, right? There's no guarantee that you will. Not in this lifetime, but you will eventually. I desire to do it in this lifetime. All right, y'all take care. Be beautiful inside and out, and I will talk to you next time. All right, what's up there? Peace.